announced that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about a bear market has started. Okay, a bear market has started in crypto, and we will look into what it exactly means, how it could be unfolding. Is it the same as the last couple of bear markets in crypto that we have seen, or what the heck is going on? So make sure to stay all the way through here for this matter. So good morning to each and every, there's the camera, each and every one of you. I hope you're doing well. It's the 1st of December 2025, and unfortunately we have to state a bear market has started. And I'm not saying the bear market has started, but a bear market has started, as we can also state that we did not have the bull run, but a bull run, okay? So I think for everyone who is still of the opinion that we didn't have a bull run in Bitcoin, we just have to quickly say that Bitcoin made almost an 8x here from the bottom. So I would say that is typical behavior. But other than that, the rest of the bull run was just not the same, right? But first of all, why do we state that a bear market has started? Well, because if we are looking at the TSI, and we said the TSI is going to be a relevant indicator for saying that we are in a bear market now, we have now confirmed by the monthly chart a bear cross on the TSI, okay? And every time this bear cross happened, you see it here, even though that there was a rally to the upside afterwards, right? But here was the bear cross, and technically, except this little wick here, the bear market had started at this point. So here's a bear cross. Then we see here is, where is the chart? There we go. Here is another bear cross, right? So after this dump, then there was a small rally. Here's the bear cross, right? So it has confirmed correctly the bear markets, and it didn't even bull cross here in after this whole pump out of the bear because of that, right? So all of this didn't even make the TSI cross, so the TSI was working fairly accurately. Let's see. This doesn't mean that this indicator cannot fail and go to the trash as well. What's happening? Okay, we've so let's check this out here a little bit closer on the chart. We have absolutely failed in putting in a relief rally here by coming back down to 86,000 Bitcoin now. We were expecting that we are bouncing higher here, and maybe we will still, towards the bull market support band, form some kind of a head and shoulders pattern here, but right now we are headed back down to this 80,000 support. Let's see. threatening to lose the support as well and then go straight to 74,000. Now, if we say we are in a bear market, and I'm saying that based on this indicator, I will stick to this, stick to some principle, otherwise there's no point in making videos even, would mean for me that we do go down to the 200 moving average, 200-week moving average, which would, if we extrapolate this a little bit and say it takes a couple of months to get there, would be, I don't know, if it happens the next 2 months or so, it would be around 58,000 for Bitcoin. Maybe this doesn't increase that quickly. I don't know. It looks like it's maybe like this, right? So depending on where and when you hit the 200-week moving average as somewhat of a support, would be between 55 and 60 something thousand. That makes absolute sense to me. Now, some people say, yeah, but if there's a bear market in Bitcoin, then we draw down from all-time high 70% or even more, right? That would be, first of all, that would lose this 200-week moving average for good. And secondly, that would be 37,000, right? I don't think this will happen. I mean, we did lose the we did lose the 200-week moving average in the previous bear market, right? Here we see it. We did lose it. I think we fell, what is it, from here to here. We fell like 30% under it. So that would not quite bring us there, but somewhat. So if we have 60,000 and 30%, we would be at 42. But that's not necessarily a guarantee. But also shows you that this had never happened before, and then it happened, right? And now, yeah, this type of bear market had never happened before, and now it's happening. I would still expect that when we revisit this 80,000 that we get somewhat of a larger bounce here. Maybe we get a Santa rally out of this and this monthly candle goes green, right? Nonetheless, I would say we are in a bearish scenario, and I will explain why in a second. The questionable is also how long such a bear market would take, how long the duration would be. Because I can hardly imagine that we are going into a 12 to 18 month of bear market, depending on how long. I mean, if you take this high when we crossed and you go to the absolute bottom, it was 426 days, more than a year. This would be a very slow bleed to the 60K mark or so, but I take it for buying purposes. The reason why I can't imagine is we are getting this easing environment, right? This month, I think around the 10th, the Fed is going to stop quantitative tightening. It's going to move to quantitative easing next. The economy is under pressure. Bills are taken out left and right. And so we are in an environment that looks bearish to me for the next 5 months or so. But then really I don't know how this cannot be printed away, right? And so because in May, and this is why I say 6 months, because in May, Jerome Powell gets exchanged, and then likely the printer is going on, right? But if not, something happens before and something substantially breaks in the world economy before. But anyways, guys, make sure. But if you like this, then smash up the like button. If you appreciate the content on Crypto Morning Coffee, then smash up the like button. The thoughts that we're putting out here. Let's see the chat also. We have Diviner Singh here. Awesomeness Redefined. Thank you very much. We have Dano here saying maybe this will happen until it doesn't, at which point watch for this to happen based on what happened last time, which may or may not happen. Sorry, couldn't help myself. That sums it up very, very well, right? I mean, what are we trying to do here even, right? We are trying to figure out when the psychological pressure of a downtrend can end and the next gains are coming up. If you see it's a wave of gains and then most of the gains get destroyed and then more gains, right, in Bitcoin. For the altcoins, we just saw the gains being destroyed and not coming back yet. I believe that if the money printer rolls in May or June or something like that, in the sense of everyone goes to easing and needs to print an economic boom, then that would be an environment where altcoins get fueled. Because here, quite frankly, we didn't really have it. And I think this is where Benjamin Cohen is also correct. The environment that we had here is like the environment that we had here. Okay, so here from this point in 2019, we did have a rally out of Bitcoin that was 4.5x, and then this rally was this was the bottom, right? And there was not a new all-time high, but we also didn't have this institution ETF and so on. But then there basically another bear market went into this. This should have gone on straight to pump, but it didn't, right? Another bear market happened here, and this bear market took basically, first of all, was a drawdown of 70%, and it took almost a year, 275 days, right? So 3/4 of a year. And then something massively broke in the economy, which was at that point a black swan. It was the sea crisis, it was the corona thingy, right? And then we got the printers all running and the boom happening. Could this happen again? Could we get from here, if we take the all-time high, we are already 60 days in it, right? So could we get 200 something days? And that would be funnily that it points to May or June or something like that. So could we get a bear market in the beginning of 2026? A red year close, no Santa rally or very little strength, maybe, right? Maybe. And this is back to you, Dano. Yes, exactly. It could happen or not, because right now we are floating or swimming in this river without any guidelines. And let me show you why the guidelines are they are wrecked, right? Every bull market has an RSI over 80, and this bull market, if we are in a bear market right now, where is it? Where is the RSI? Never in history the RSI did this. So the guardrails are off, right? I mean, usually a bull market looks like this or this. This time it looked like this on the stochastic RSI. So there is no. There are some people out there in the space that say, well, of course the 4-year cycle works. We peaked here and we peaked here, and now we peaked here based on the 4-year cycle. Fine, but the 4-year cycle only works then on Bitcoin, right? It doesn't work on altcoins, because where is the altcoin season? Yeah. Also, by the way, for the TSI, even for the TSI, we didn't hit the trend line. You can draw it how narrow you want to draw it. Doesn't matter. We didn't hit the trend line. It looks like a hit, but we did not. From afar, it looks like a hit. So even that is out of whack, right? So technically, you would expect to go and hit this. Yeah. So yeah, the TSI, it didn't hit it. It also. The breakout target of this inverse head and shoulder, which was 138,000 or so, also didn't hit, right? It didn't hit correctly here. 100, what do we have? 125,000 or something like that as the all-time high. Yeah, so we are floating without guardrails. But here's the reason why, in my opinion, we are getting wrecked right now. It's because the Japan 10-year and also 20-year government bond yield surges to 1.84%, and the 20-year is 2.8 something percent. This is the highest level since April 2008, and it's very concerning because those bond yields, let's put pieces a little bit together, those bond yields going up. Japan is the 4th largest economy in the world, and it's the highest indebted country in the world. They ran on 0 interest rate for 30 years. They were the home of the carry trade. Everyone got cheap money from there. The bond yields going up like that means the carry trade is unwinding. The central bank in Japan is rate hiking, something that basically everyone below 48 years old, which is 30 years, it didn't happen since 30 years, but then I think you should be at least 18 years to really remember financial stuff. So everyone in Japan and around the world who's at least 48 years old, only those people remember a time where Japan had basically interest rates, and where other conditions were going on than 0% politics, right? So it's something that most people that are in jobs don't remember anymore, which is of course a unique situation to be in. So this all goes out of balance, and of course it scares the hell out of the economy. So the second thing that happens at the same time is this. The crypto's liquidity issue, as seen countless times this year, Friday night and Sunday night often come with large crypto moves. Just now, we saw Bitcoin fall $4,000 in a matter of minutes without any news at all. Why? Because liquidity is thin. Then add this to the fact that leverage in markets is at record highs right now. As a result, the sudden rush of a selling volume leads to a domino effect sell-off, which is only amplified by the historic amounts of levered position being liquidated. This crypto bear market is still structural in nature. We do not view this as fundamental decline. It is always a little bit different, but yeah, you see also this decline doesn't look so massive on that scale, right? Why use so high leverage? Yeah, exactly. Because people are degenerate gamblers. That's why. That's the fundamental nature. By the way, I just have to quickly say, since mid of last month, since we dropped below 100,000, I am buying again. Okay, just to make that fully transparent, I'm buying Bitcoin again on a weekly basis. With a savings plan. There's just some money rolling back into Bitcoin for me. As Bitcoin is dropping lower here, of course, that's fine. I get more sats. But I'm definitely a buyer here. Let's see how this turns out, right? Let's see how Bitcoin behaves at 80,000 support, because we had visited it already with this wick. Let's see. Long term, Bitcoin is energy. Let's listen to the richest man in the world, what he has to say.
Currencies, if you will, that are physics-based. So energy is the true currency. This is why I said Bitcoin is based on energy. You can't legislate energy. You can't just, pass a law and suddenly have a lot of energy. It's very difficult to generate energy, or especially to harness energy in a useful way to do useful work. So I think that probably we won't have money, and probably we'll just have energy, power generation as the de facto currency. Currencies, if you will, that are physics-based.
So, energy is the new currency in his mind, and I'm really inclined to look at what Elon Musk thinks about these things, because it's not like he hasn't done massive progress in the world based on exactly that: physics, energy, and so on. His whole business and his whole future ideas evolve around it. Devo Kyle says, so you think alt season isn't a thing anymore? No, I think that alt season depends on macroeconomic factors that were not around during this run. So I think that alt season depends on one factor is alt season depends on a sharp decline in the dollar valuation and massive money printing in the sense of massive liquidity expansion, of which both we haven't really seen. So both result in something that we have seen many times before, which is the ISM. So, sorry, not SIM, ISM. Let's see if we can find the chart quickly here. And thank you for the $2 donation, by the way. Let's see if we can find the chart here from Raul Pal and Julian Bittel. There you go, right? So you have this ISM chart, and you see that ISM in comparison to and there is a cycle before, ISM goes sideways, right, in this bull run and didn't take up yet, right? So I would say altcoin season based on that, and I'm here fully with them, is coming later, at a later stage, when this monetary expansion, when this money printing is really starting, right? And it hasn't started, the ISM didn't pick up, so the business cycle isn't there yet. Whereas the institutional bid for Bitcoin did happen during this time. Introduction of ETFs. Countries are taking out either loans or their own funds to build a reserve. ETFs being bought on a massive scale, more ETFs coming in, right? That was this whole phase. And then we did see here in the end, basically, companies, institutions adding Bitcoin through ETFs, through MicroStrategy and so on to their balance sheets, and through all this, MicroStrategy is buying. So all of this was focused solely around countries and institutions buying Bitcoin and a little bit of Ethereum. And that's what we saw, right? We see a pump out of Bitcoin and a little bit of Ethereum. And yes, there were some altcoins that did phenomenal pumps. We did see also even a meme coin mania somewhere here in the middle of this run. So it's not like it didn't happen. It only happened in a more particular way, in a more focused way. So it didn't collectively pick up the entire crypto space with all the altcoins, right? And I think it also got a little bit destroyed by the Trump meme coin. Then the Melania meme coin was basically the nail in the coffin, right? So trust in this whole altcoin space also got destroyed. But in the end, I would say it just depends on macro factors that aren't there, which are exactly what I mentioned. The ISM based on liquidity expansion, easing conditions, and so on. The moment that the business cycle picks up, I would say altcoins and crypto in general should pick up again as well. Just hold them for next cycle. Depends on many things. If you believe what I believe, then secondly, if you can stomach that, can you stomach that, or can you still take profit in? Can you de-risk, right? Do you want to hold all of this? These are all things that need to be decided by you, and certainly not based on a guy with, I don't know, 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? So that's definitely not, I'm not the basis of the decision for that. Definitely not, right? But I'm personally, now I can tell you what I do personally. I personally will hold my altcoins because I haven't seen them flying, or at least most of them. What I did though was for example, I sold my render position at around 250% and 230% in profit, which is way below where it was. But I think I'm de-risking definitely on AI coins, so I'm kicking most of the AI coins out of my portfolio right now. At least the ones that are in profit, and the rest we can see. Although I have to mention that these are small positions, right? So if you imagine my portfolio, then it's like this is BTC and this is the rest of altcoins, which is the crypto portfolio, right? And then there is another portfolio which is basically cash and index funds, right? So these and then there's one portfolio. Then there's another portfolio which is VeVe. Okay, so VeVe is outside of calculated outside of the crypto portfolio, just because I think that what goes into this is my substance, right? Which is like ETF and so on. This is my substance. This is my fast guarantee horse in crypto, which is BTC. And this is my degenerate maybe position. And this here is what I consider a guarantee loss, okay? Because if it's not a guaranteed loss, I'm very happy. But if not, I have some cool collectibles, okay? So this is basically my structure here. Much more, I personally don't need much more, right? So this is my slow growth, this is my fast growth, this is my no growth, maybe growth, and maybe fast growth, who knows, right? I hope this helps. Definitely, oh, hey, Divokai, thank you for the $5 donation. So is the terrible 4-year crypto winter now going to be 5-year crypto winters moving forward? We never had, the winter isn't really 5 years or 4 years, right? We never had that. It feels that way because coming up is, I think here we said, okay, we are out of the bear market, right? On this channel. But the notion persisted until this level when we broke the previous all-time high, that this is all winter, right? This was all perceived winter. But if you're buying here all the way down or somewhere where it's oversold, then it will already not feel as winter anymore when you come up back here and everything's just in profit, right? Will it be? I don't think so, based on what I said exactly, right? I think it will be maximum, to me, or in my opinion, it will be maximum a year or so. But I think it will be less than a year because of the money printing. We will have a new Fed chair in May. Everyone's pushing for easing. Now, what's the scenario where we really could have a prolonged winter? That would be, we get some easing right now, so we get a rate cut right now. Then we get some, let's say, some relief rally based on that. But then next year, the economic meltdown happens based on, hey, the inflation is ticking up again, and the Fed needs to hike rates again from where they are to keep inflation under control, right? So if that would happen, I would certainly say, okay, that's where you enter prolonged winter, right? But I don't really think so. I don't think so, because we get additional tightening from this carry trade unwind in Japan right now. So technically everyone else needs to ease against this. And by the way, there is no way against the money printing anymore, because everyone's just taking out massive loans and pushes it into the economy. Right now, and this is what I said, Germany already in the beginning of the year took out €500 billion, and they are only now finalizing the budgeting where all of this money goes. They agreed, I think they agreed only last week on for which, we call it household, these €500 billion is meant, how the split is going to be. So this means that money was technically taken out, but it didn't hit the market yet. It took some time, and it will be the same for the big beautiful bill. It will be the same for the Japanese 180 billion first stimulus package. It will be for every other country, right? That was on $500 billion, only Germany, right? There is a whole European Union that has to act in a similar way. Long BTC at 85. Let's see if the relief rally hits. What is TP? Is that trading point or so? My TP, anyways. Best of luck to you there. Could be. I mean, I would still expect a relief rally to form the shoulder and have some excitement coming back into the market, even based on that. We did see a bounce. You can't see it on a monthly, but we did see it on a weekly. It was very short-lived and very weak. Although it felt good to see the portfolio a little bit in the green and coming back. I think that maybe there was too much leverage also in the altcoin space. And the altcoins were gearing up. So collectively there was no new all-time high, basically, except this week in the entire altcoin space. We had the perfect setup. We didn't break out, right? Here you see it. Perfect cup and handle, got invalidated by dropping, and then also this trend line got invalidated by dropping. So we didn't get the breakout, and that's where you don't get the altcoin season, right? So what's the next stop? The next stop is that altcoins bleed into this moving average, right? Bleed towards this moving average collectively. And this is total too. This even includes Ethereum. So let's look at the ETH USDT. Look at this. I mean, ETH broke out of this beautifully, right? We even said, hey, this is the target. By the way, we didn't hit a single target here, right? We didn't hit a single target. Crazy. Yeah. So, and then it even retested here, and then it fell back into it, right? So it seems like all engines were firing to get started, and then so all these targets, you can get rid of them, get wrecked. And by the way, ETH just didn't really put in an all-time high as well, and didn't get to this oversold whatever, right? So we do here we see. Let's get rid of this line quickly so we can see. Yeah, so we had 4,009. Yeah, exactly. So it just went back to its all-time high, but it didn't breach it in dollar terms, which means that if you would reduce this by inflation, you didn't make a new high at all, right? You didn't even revisit it if you deduct inflation here. $2 again from Diva. Thank you very much. Sorry, I meant 5-year winter for alts, not Bitcoin. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Gotcha. Yes, basically. Going back to total 2, and then we should look at total 3. So you would Yeah, if you I mean, the altcoin space also went up 4x, right, collectively in the size. It did, but it didn't make new all-time highs. It didn't go to this massive rally and so on. So technically, yes, if you would consider that, then you are, since the drop, in a 1,461 day winter already. Yeah, and then it would be a 5-year winter. Yes, I would say so. TNMT drop did awesome. Good morning, Bodo. Good morning, Troy. Let's see. So what do you think about the full-on debt reset over the next few years? Seeing more and more videos on this subject. What are your thoughts? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the full, like the great reset, so to say, in the sense of that there is like 1930, what was it, 1931, like, or 1929, like crash, which basically eradicates years of gains in the stock markets and wipes out currencies and so on? Are you talking about that, Troy? Ninja Turtles, are you talking about? Yes, I saw this drop. Yeah, this is a big one. Yes, like that. Okay, so let's talk about this, because it's funny that when Bitcoin drops, and Bitcoin has a lot of YouTube attention, when Bitcoin drops, this scenario comes back to the table always, right? So let me see. I have the Dow Jones here, right? Okay, so last cycle ending, right? We did have this drop out of the Dow Jones. 22.63%. That's, for the stock market, that's like a 50 to 60% correction for Bitcoiners, right? So the stock market guys, they puke in a bag and so on when they get these drawdowns, right? Where we can just laugh and say, no, just another day in crypto, right? And then the ones where people really get really shit themselves is like this one here, right? So this one is the Lehman Brothers crisis of 55% drawdown. And now you could say, wait, what do you mean? Like, this is the worst crash in a long time. And then we had a global pandemic that's only 37%. Yes, because what happens is, basically, I can draw a line here and say, to the left is old paradigm and to the right is the new paradigm. And the new paradigm says, from here, and it has been invented here, it says whenever there is a new economic collapse, we print money directly into it, because it worked here, and we just don't let anyone collapse. We take money and we bail out the banks. We take money and we bail out businesses, right? So here, based on money printer, all over the world, businesses got funds that would not have survived and that were zombies all afterwards, and then here they crashed, right? But my bottom line is, the crash topic comes back every time this or something like this happens. I mean, even here right now, the crash topic is there, with the stock market going to all-time highs. Okay? When we were here, we had charts drawn out that looked like this. Okay? So this was the projection of the people when we had this crash. and they compared it to the 1929 stock market bubble pop. What was the reason for 1929 bubble pop? It was that all countries printed massive money to fund the First World War. Reckless monetary policy, so to say. Some countries already partially went off the gold standard for that, or mostly went off the gold standard for that. The US only went off the gold standards in 1972. The reason for this crash was the highest valuation in home prices, and everyone got a loan. Dirty loans got packed and repackaged and sold to other banks, right? And then the whole thing collapsed. I would say this, it's very hard to predict this mega bubble pop, because if you look at this, you could have set this here. It should happen here. It should have happened here. This is a clear top formation, right? Just, it wasn't. Got printed away. So, of course, this dead reset, at some point it might happen, but inflation isn't out of control yet. And this would be my biggest argument against why this is not happening and why they can kick down the can, kick the can down the road for another 4, 8, or 12 years. Because the inflation, inflation is not. Inflation is raging. You see it. They tell you inflation is like 2-3%, 3% maybe. They tell you this. It's actually 6 to 8% or maybe even 10, right? Because you go to a supermarket after 4 week vacation, and you just look at prices, and many things that of the groceries that you're buying they jumped up 10% within the year. Yeah. So of course something's going on with inflation. They just repackaged the basket of what's counted in official inflation. The general rule of thumb for inflation is take the current inflation and make it ×2. I would even say make it ×3, right? And that's your real inflation. But official inflation is sitting at 3%. So what they could do is leave the rates high for another 4 or 5 months. They can leave the rates high for a long period of time until something goes to shit in the economy. That's when your stock markets go back down, and that's when they can start the money printer and go into another rally to the upside until they reach a point where they have high interest rate and high inflation at the same time, and they can only go to even higher interest rate to try to control it. It's happening already. It's happening to Turkey, it's happening to Argentina, it's happening to Brazil. Look at Brazil. Brazil has 4% inflation and 15% interest rate since years. Basically, since years. The inflation is not going back to 2%. It's sitting there at 4% at a 15% interest rate. You take out a consumer credit or something, and Brazilians watching here, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're taking out a consumer loan in Brazil, you pay like 30% interest rate or so. It's absolutely catastrophic. Doesn't feel that way. Once you're a tourist or so, it doesn't feel that way. But I bet that many people are feeling that in Argentina it was like what the inflation was like 100% or so, and they had to use a lot of control mechanisms there to just get some parts of the economy under control. So technically, before a big crash comes, or before a crash like 1929 comes, more things need to happen, right? The inflation needs to start going out of control. And right now, it seems to be still in control. So let's see how far they can go. Yeah. Here it is, by the way. This small thing is the bubble pop. Okay. So, and what I see is, I mean, I think you get a lot of views if you do this bubble pop scenario, right? But basically, what people are doing is they take, where is the ghost chart? They take this part and they go until here, right? They take the whole thing and then they move it up. And then they say basically, oh yeah, it's just like here. It's just like here, right? They say it's just like here. It's just like here. And then, yeah, somewhat like this. But they did it also here, right? They did it here. This is just like here. And then they say, yeah, this we go a little bit further, and then we crash, right? So this would be a massive wipeout, obviously. And somewhat these things felt like resets in the economy. And also, people are stating towards this, oh yeah, this will happen, and then we go to World War III. Right now, the US is working with Russia on a peace treaty, right? So that the whole region gets a peace, Russia gets these territories, blah blah blah, right? So all of this is going on right now. So I would say that peace in that region, and at the same time, the EU wants to spend trillions on military, which is nothing more than a stimulus package. It doesn't matter. Stimulus doesn't matter where you inject it. You can take stimulus and inject it into infrastructure. You can take stimulus, inject it into military. You can do it, like, wherever you put it, it doesn't matter, right? Troy says, okay, I feel better, thanks. The bad part of this is at some point something like this will happen. Just Murphy's Law already said, like, at some point something will go that horribly wrong that we will have some crash like this. But I don't see it be happening right now. And to be honest, if it would happen, it would be the greatest buying opportunity of all times. Right? But of course, you need to survive. But I would say that is that, right? There's no... By the way, I was talking about altcoins, right? I mean, there's still altcoins that do 4x in a week. Tradur, 4x. Here's even a top 100 coin, Rain, went to $1.7 billion with a 26 trading volume and only 3 exchanges. It's not like nothing is going on here, right? Anyway, that's my view on all of this. Pendle up, 11%, Wemix up, Ultra up, UDS up. Some things are down, FTN's down 50%. We do see the overall altcoin markets like down 2.5%. Quant up 20%. Let's randomly check out Quant chart. This is this USD? Okay, it's USDT. Let's get this to something more visible. Yeah, this is something that I observe. I mean, whatever altcoin chart you open is like, it looks like a massive accumulation, Because if the altcoin, if Quant, for example, right, if it was dead, you would just go down and then, right, put the flat line, just like a cardiac arrest patient. But you really have this, I would even say, you really have these last resort supports, and then it bounces between this, right? That looks like accumulation to me, right? And I would not say that every altcoin is worth buying. Where's BitTensor, by the way? Like, is like, there are some altcoins that are just good, right? Doing something, having return on that. BitTensor, by the way, also did sell off massively, right? But I think you really find similar stuff, right, around here. So also here, if you get rid of this more short term, you basically have these, like, okay, that's BitTensor, right? If you put in here this upper and lower band, basically where this moves, you also see it, right? You can see very well that there are these swings. It's just going here, 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 here. It's just in this. This was pre-altcoin season massive accumulation range, right? And that's an argument where you could say, okay, that thing has good fundamentals. It would be, if we visit here a little bit lower on a bounce, I don't know, a couple of 100%, that's something to build altcoin bags, right? But it needs a lot of discipline. And I'm also not the disciplined person, I'll tell you that. But in theory, you could just say, okay, we hit this band, you buy, you bounce, after 100%, you sell half of the bag, and there you go. You have a moon bag, right? But of course, it's risky. It's risky. Anyways, that might be it for today. We do actually. Let me quickly go to VeVe. Quickly to VeVe, because they had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle drop, and I don't want to go here without talking quickly or quickly looking about at this. Also, we need to see, like, they are still alive in this non-NFT, and so on winter. They had really good market action. They have still the big brands like Coca-Cola is dropping for them. They have, what is this? Join VeVe official partner Valley Flynn and Marvel Strike. 100,000 followers. Gaming community live on Twitch. Today for the TMNT Michelangelo release bonus, we check Raid PG new Alien release. What is that? 130,000 followers compared to the VeVe official Xenomorph release 2. Crazy. So, this is interesting, right? There's a lot of things like marketing wise going on. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles drop went yesterday. Was it yesterday? Oh, on the 29th. It was on the 29th. I don't know if it did sell out, but probably it did. I don't know. You see VeVe numbers are a little bit more steady after this massive rise. We do see some Ninja Turtle sales going on. Yeah, nice. Ooh, there was a V2 logo. Someone bought and sold a V2 logo. a VeVe logo. Yeah. So far, so good, guys. For today, that's it. Make sure to be subscribed, notifications on, like this live stream, and stay tuned for more crypto morning coffee throughout December. Wherever you are on the world, have a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon, and I catch you in the next video.